Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Hello everyone and welcome to Apex Online Racing Hype Energy PC F2 Racing. I'm here today at the Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix, round 8 of our PC F2 Championship. Now, we are currently loading into the lobby, so we will be in the session in just a moment, as I had a visual glitch that said we were actually going to be into the race first, but thankfully, that was just a visual glitch. So, and it will be just me today, as the ladder has the weekend off, but nevertheless, hopefully we'll be able to bring some very entertaining racing for you today. Now, unfortunately, we are only limited to a grid of 9 drivers today. So if you or a friend are looking to join League Racing and would like to join in on the fun, then please, by all means, sign up and join the fun, as we are definitely looking for more drivers to fill our ranks to bring in even more entertaining action. Also, for viewers to note, there is, as well, for some reason on my end, I'm having a little bit of desktop audio problem, so if you are watching and notice it, then I do apologize for those issues, and I will try to get it sorted out here during qualifying today. As currently we are in qualifying with 16 minutes and 18 seconds left. Drivers are getting out on the track now to set some banker laps, and hopefully we'll see some entertaining action, in qualifying. Even though we have 9 drivers today, I do hope that we'll get some shootout, in a sense, in qualifying, but we'll have to wait and see what some of the drivers can pull off. As currently on track, we got CNLP, Codemasters, and Galbavand are currently the 3 about to start a lap with, I believe that's pronounced Pater, or Pater, is currently entering Sector 3 and will be on a lap shortly as well. So, it'll be very exciting to see what happens. So, also be very interesting to see what tires drivers are currently running, which most of them on track are on the soft tire, except for CNLP, who we are currently watching right now. And interesting thing to note is the soft tire does wear a lot around this track, so even with the smaller grid, it'll be interesting to see if anyone's going to take advantage of starting on the mediums. So it looks like Pater had a incident in the final corner and looks like he's missing an end plate, so that is not what the Haas driver wants to see today. Pater, I'm going to just stick with Pater and hopefully I get it right. Apologize if it's wrong. But it's also known as Cient, who had a very decent British Grand Prix last week. He started P2 on the grid, but sort of fell back due to the conditions, as it was a very tricky race with it being intermediate conditions. So hopefully we'll see a better outing for him today as he goes wide on an already invalidated lap. But back towards the front, we got Galbavand, who's currently finishing up his first hot lap on the soft tires. Comes out of the final corner, and he will set a 14.1, a very solid banker lap for the Racing Point driver. Next across the line is Codemasters, who has invalidated his lap, and very unfortunate, but he might have enough fuel to go again by the looks of it, since he has plenty of battery power. The Ferrari driver will be looking to improve on that lap, but hopefully the Red Bull gets out of the way, which Oxygen does. Next across the line is CNLP. He'll cross the line with a 24.7. That is definitely a baseline lap, as he has most of his battery and was not a push lap. So I look to see that time improved as well, as Pater does return to the pits to fix his front wing. Let me turn off my Discord overlay, as we don't need any excess notifications popping up. So yeah, turning back to the action on track. CNLP goes purple in the first sector as he's over 2/10 up, so he must have made a mistake in the second part of the track, I would assume, as he looked like he was already down on that in his previous lap. So we'll stick on board with him here. See if we can get the on-board shot. No, that's the wrong button. There we go. As he goes through the twisty section of the track, which according to my nice and handy track map is turns 10 and now 11. Coming out 11 at the end of Sector 2, he is 6.5 seconds up. Not surprising, but we'll see what he can make up in the final sector, and if he can get close to Gelvan's time on the softs, which would be very impressive to be able to complete on the mediums. So he's almost out of battery, but he looks like he's got just enough as he's coming out of turn 14. Loses the rear end a little bit. Hopefully does not invalidate. He does not because he let off the throttle and is a 15.8. Very unfortunate final corner as he was on a very hot lap right there. But speaking of a hot lap, AOR Oxygen has just started his first hot lap of the session on the soft tire. We'll see if he can set a purple first sector, which he does. So not sure if Gelbovan struggled through the first sector and didn't push, but it's currently looking like drivers are able to get purple in the first sector very easily, but I do expect Gelbovan to greatly improve on his time. Another driver also out is Hittinen, and you can see him on the mini-map. We'll check in with him after Oxygen finishes this lap. But let's keep an eye on the Red Bull driver who has shown some very promising qualifying pace, but has not turned that into great race pace as he goes purple in Sector 2 as well. Can the Red Bull driver put it on provisional pole with 12 minutes left in the section? No, he cannot, as he invalidates on the exit of 12. A very tricky part to get right at most times. So the Red Bull driver will look to go one more time, assuming he has enough fuel, which I believe he does. As he slows up, yeah, he looks like he does not have enough fuel, I guess. So, maybe, I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on Oxygen. But we'll look a little farther back at Hittinen, who is pushing and invalidates on the exit of 11. As track limits are definitely going to be catching drivers out today. Now, not sure if any of the drivers have intentionally invalidated, as the medium tire might be more of an optimal tire to start on due to the soft tires wear. But we'll have to wait and see what some of the drivers do. But Hittinen provisionally will set a 113.5, so 0.6 faster than Gelbovan right now. So we'll have to keep an eye on the Williams driver. He's showing a lot of pace, but we'll have to see if he can actually get a valid lap in. So we'll look back at Oxygen, who is definitely not on a push lap as he has no energy. So, well, excuse me, I don't know if he's doing just a banker lap in a sense, but it says he's purple in the middle sector, but I believe that's more of a visual glitch considering he has all of his battery power at the moment. Let me take this time to see if I can fix the audio settings, as the only driver currently on a push lap, I believe it's Gelbovan. So we'll put it on board, and I do apologize, it will go into the pause screen for the moment. So, not sure. I mean, that shows a little bit of audio improvement, but I don't know why my audio is currently clapped at a negative 50 decibels, which I'm not sure if anyone in the chat has a solution for me. I'd greatly appreciate it. But to Shiny Apple, yeah, sadly we only have 9 drivers today. I'm not sure why we're having such low attendance. But yeah, Gelbovan crossed the line with a 13.67. Of course, 671 according to his delta. So yeah, that will be provisional pole. But anyways, back to your comment. Yeah, it is very disappointing to see that we only have 9 drivers. We've had a lot of drivers retire throughout the initial running of F2 and then the split combination. Not sure if there's. I don't think there's any common theme, to be honest. It's just unfortunate to see, as we love to see lots of racing and lots of clean, fair, competitive racing, and we've seen plenty of that. But it's really hard to get competitive racing when you got such a low grid. And we tried combining splits, but we had struggles with, again, driver retention. So not sure what's going on. We're continually recruiting, of course, but yeah, it is unfortunate because some of us like commentators, we love to bring everyone action, and in years past, AOR has done an amazing job, and hopefully we'll be able to continue on with that theme going forward. But yeah, so we'll have to see what happens. But back to the action on track. Codematic is currently on a flyer, and he's 2.9 seconds down, so I guess he is actually on an in-lap, as he set a 14.5, which I happened to have missed, but a very solid first lap and a banker lap for the Ferrari driver. So yeah, we'll have to see if he can improve on that time as well, but as he invalidates what I would assume is his in-lap, as he's not really using energy at the moment. So yeah, it's all kind of calm on track with only Zoran on what I believe is a push lap. The Renault driver, who has shown some amazing consistency this season, currently is coming up to the end of Sector 1 on the medium compound tire, so he's looking at getting that nice tire where it's purple Sector 1, but I believe that is a visual glitch since we have seen people go faster in Sector 1. So I'm going to assume that the mini-map is bugged now for Sector 1 as well, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. As Zoran goes and pushes through the tight chicane and through the middle sectors, or the middle sector, sorry, of turns 9, 10, and 11, keeping it barely within the lines and using all the track limits. Let's see what the Renault driver can do out of 11, and he invalidates. That corner is so tricky to get right. And it's the car, if you really get it to snap with the oversteer, sometimes you have to catch it, or if I have the understeer, you also have the issue there as well. So very unfortunate to see, as he is going to dive back into the pits, and I don't know if he's going to put on a different set of tires, or if he's going to just try to refuel that car and go out again on the mediums, but we'll have to wait and see what the Renault driver decides. Now, looking back through the field, CNLP has invalidated his current hot lap, and so he will not be able to set a valid lap that will improve his time. AOR Oxygen, a little farther down the field, is currently, I believe he is currently on a flyer right now, considering his battery usage is a lot. He's at 26.5 through the first sector, already a half-tenth higher than what Zoran was on in his previous lap on the soft tires. So he is flying right now. That purple could actually be purple in the first sector, but we'll have to wait and see as the Red Bull driver goes through turns, I believe that is 7 and 8. Yeah, that's 6 and 7. Counting is wrong, but that is turn 8, 9, 10, and he has invalidated again. Not what the Red Bull driver wants to see today on a lap that provisionally could have put him on the front row. So we'll have to wait and see, as they've got a slow Williams driver going through 6 and 7. That is Hittinen. I believe he is on a cool-down lap, or yes, he's definitely not on a push lap, that's for sure. Not sure if he's just trying to get a delta or whatnot, but yeah, it could be a warm-up lap as well. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the Finnish driver can do. Sorry. Looking for further through the grid. Peter is on an invalidated lap. That is unfortunate to see. Is CNLP on a push lap? He is. He's over a second up on his time. We'll have to see if he can steal provisional P2 from Codematic. The McLaren driver pushing through turns 13 and 14. He's got to get it just right. Hits the apex. Now, can he get his exit right this time around? He does. And he's going to come across the line with a 14.2. That is provisional P2. A very nice and clean lap for the McLaren driver. Now, looking behind him, I believe Gelbovan is also on a flyer of a lap. He is currently 0.04 up on his time. Not much improvement at the moment for the Racing Point driver, but can he gain some extra time in the third sector with the track getting faster? It's a very clean exit out of 13. Didn't see any wheel spin as he dives into the pits, so not happy with his lap at the moment. So yeah, very unfortunate to see. Let me turn off my Discord notifications as well, as we don't need those coming in. Put that over here. Where the heck? Just love when you struggle to find settings. That is such a me problem, it seems. But yeah, so I'll have to figure that one out in a sec. But anyways, looking back on the track, not sure if there's anything changing at the moment. We know Hittinen actually set down a 14.4 on the mediums. That is a very impressive lap for the Finnish driver. Not sure if he'll try to improve on that by the end of the session, but that's a very fine lap that's currently put him provisional P3. But as most of the grid has not set a lap, including his teammate XPG Bogan, who we have seen put down some absolutely phenomenal laps in these past few races. Which, heck, it even helped him to get P1 in qualifying and eventually in the race last weekend at Silverstone. So I'm sure that time will definitely be competitive from Hittinen, but I'm sure it will also be challenged by other drivers in the field, as a lot of them have put on the medium set of tires now by the looks of it, and will be pushing on laps right now with Oxygen and BenQ. BenQ actually coming out of the final corner on an invalidated lap, which we'll have to see if he goes again. Oxygen currently on an out lap as well on the medium tires. I guess he has decided that those soft tire laps were just kind of, for fun, and the medium tires is what he wants to actually race on. So we'll have to see what he can nail at. All right, there are my notification settings. Let's turn that off for now, and I will turn that on later. Alrighty, back to the action on track. Again, I don't know what the audio is doing for myself right now. It's showing up as really low. I do apologize. This Oxygen begins what I believe is his flyer lap now. Yes, he's currently starting his I would assume to be his final hot lap, unless he's got enough fuel for 2 runs, but we'll have to see, as the Red Bull driver, I'm sure, only wants to put in 1 lap. He's got a little bit of traffic in Gelbevand ahead of him, who is currently pushing once again on the soft tires, I believe, as that 13.6 is definitely a competitive lap. But yeah, Oxygen 26.7 through the first 2 sectors, as there's a broken Williams front wing out on the track, and it hit the Red Bull driver. How the heck did that happen? Hopefully Oxygen's lap is not ruined right there. But we'll have to see as he goes through the middle sector through 8 and now 9. Can he keep it on track? Yes, he does. He's got to keep it clean through 10 and 11 now. Will he stay on track through 11? Yes, he does. The Red Bull driver with a 53.3. It says he's purple through the middle sector. Not sure if that's true or not. Doesn't matter. As he gets a beautiful exit out of 12 through 13 and through 13 now, gets a little bit of oversteer on the apex, but he keeps it very clean. Now through 14, can he hit the apex and get a nice run? Takes a very late apex, puts the power down very early, and comes across the line. What will it be? A 15.0. So not a bad lap for the Red Bull driver, but it only puts him P5 on the grid. But looking further through the order, yeah, it's Hittinen without a front wing, so his session is certainly over, as Bogan has decided he wants to retire from the session. So I can only assume that if he doesn't put a lap down, that the race must be dry. Otherwise, I would assume he would have put a lap down. Now, looking through the rest of the field, the next driver to cross the line to start a lap will be CNLP, but I'm not sure if that is BenQ. That is BenQ in the middle sector, as he is looking to, I guess, to put down the banker lap, or if he's definitely not running low on fuel. He's only got 20 seconds to get to the line, which I think he's got enough time for to start one last flying lap, see if he can improve on his position. But if he cannot, he might be starting last, because right now Bogan will be starting last because he has no time set. But looking behind BenQ, we have Oxygen, who's only on 11% battery. The Red Bull driver is pushing to improve on his lap. Let's stay with him and see if he can improve on that P5. This Hittinen in this session is over, unsurprisingly, because he does not have a front wing. Anyways, back to Oxygen coming through the final corner. Can he get the power down? Get the power down very nicely, but can he improve on his lap? He will not. Well, he barely will, actually. Just very slightly improves the laps. Gelbevand to cross the line with a 13.4. That is the fastest overall, and I do not know if that will be beaten. The only one who can really contest that is the Mercedes of CNLP. But looking back through the grid, we got Pater coming through the final corner. Will he be able to contest for pole? He does not, but he puts his car on the front row with a 14.2. Next up is Zoran. Across the line on the medium tires, only goes P6 with a 14.9. So he's only able to beat out Oxygen and BenQ, and with BenQ currently on one more lap right now. Next cross line, CNLP on the soft compound tire. Can he get on the front row? He does. The 14.053, a great lap for the McLaren driver. Only 2 drivers left to contest are Codematic and BenQ, but I believe I saw Codematic. Yes, he is going into the pits now. So his session is over. The highest he will be is P5. What will BenQ have a say about any of it? No, he will not, as he is currently coasting around the track right now. And I believe that is session over for the grid, with Gelbovan securing another fantastic pole position by over 6/10. A phenomenal drive by the Racing Point driver. Hopefully he'll be able to turn that into a podium in the race, but we'll have to wait and see. If we pull up to the official qualifying results, I did not see any penalties that should change that qualifying order. But there you have it. Gelbovan, P1 with a 13.421 and a 6/10 of a gap between him and CNLP in P2. McLaren driver with a brilliant front row lap with Petter in P3 in the Haas, Hittinen P4, Catomatic P5, Zoran P6, Oxygen P7, Ben Q P8, and our championship leader Bogan into P9. Not setting a time. I'm sure that was intentional, but we'll have to see what the Williams driver can do today, as we know he has a lot of pace and might be looking for a challenge from the back of the grid. But now, as we load into the official lobby, we will flip on over to the championship standings right now. As you can see, we only got 14 drivers currently listed in the championship. Very unfortunate to see, but yes, we hopefully we can get more numbers within the ranks. Now, anyways, looking back on last race, Bogan secured a fantastic P1 with Hittinen, following him right up for a Williams 1-2. As the two of them are currently 1-2 in the championship, as well as Bogan with only a 6-point lead over his teammate. The Polish driver having a phenomenal season so far, where he's had some very stellar qualifying sessions that have turned into some fantastic race sessions. So, yes, well, hopefully we'll have to see what he can do as he starts from P9 on the grid, but we'll see if he can work his way through. Gelbovan's in P3 and on pole today, so he's trying to erase that 34-point deficit, which is a tall order, but after struggling at the start of the season, he's looking to rebound and catch back up to the front too. Next up is Zoran in P4 in the Renault. He is 46 points behind. Vespa, who is not racing today and I do not believe will be racing with us going forward, is currently P5 with Flash, who is not here today, P6. And then further down the order, we got Oxygen and Kalachu. Kalachu not here today. Bailey Thompson, who's also not here today. And Cient, who is also known as Pater. He will be, I might just start referring to him as Cient, as that's a little easier, as I do not have accents down today. But yeah, so he is currently at 12 points and looking to improve on that P5 finishing that he had at Great Britain, and hopefully he goes forward on the grid rather than backwards, for what he saw last week. Ben Q, his teammate in the sister Haas, is down there in 11th with CNLP, who had in his first race last season managed the P8, is now in his second race on the front row. So the McLaren driver, definitely got a lot of hope for him today, and hopefully he'll be able to turn that into some fantastic points. So Catomatic down in 13th. Now, as we return back to the grid now, the drivers are currently on their warm-up lap, their formation lap, excuse me. And let's see if we got any kind of data for us to show. We'll keep it on a position, or we'll keep it on tires actually, for now. As looking at the grid, the top 3 are on the soft tire, with Hittinen the first of the medium tire runners, Catomatic on the soft as well, Zoran, Oxygen, BenQ all on the mediums, which they qualified on, and then Bogan. It looks like the reason he did not want to qualify is because he wanted those juicy hard tires, something we do not have access to this year in the game. Not sure why Codemasters took that feature out, as it was definitely nice to have a hard tire set in qualifying if you wanted. But yes, it looks like he is elected to start the race on them by not qualifying. So with a 9-car grid, we'll see what he'll be able to do with that, as the hard to medium or hard to soft strategy could be very quick. But we'll have to wait and see as the drivers line up on the grid. 9 drivers here today for Apex Online Racing, Hype Energy, PC, F2. We'll see if we can get a nice camera shot. There's a nice camera shot as we got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And away we go to start the Hungarian Grand Prix. Gelbovan gets a nice launch. The delta on the screen is a little whacked. Gelbovan, a nice launch with, it looks like, one of the Haas drivers into P2, CNLP, with a very slow launch off the grid. I believe that, I'm not sure if that's BenQ. That is not BenQ. in second. That is CN, aka Pater, as CNLP is dropping down the order with Hittinen up into P3 right now with a fantastic start. Even though it says Bogan, but I think the order is, well, that's really whack right now. But yes, anyways, looking through the order, Gelbovan gets a fantastic start, followed by, there he goes, Pater in P2, Hittinen in P3, CNLP down to P4, Catomatic in P5, Zor in P6, Auction 7, Ben Q8, and Bogan still stuck in 9th. So most of the field past P4 stayed the same, but it looks like a great start for the Williams and Haas driver, but not a good start for the rookie McLaren driver. Yes, the Deltas are still a little whack. Well, we do not want that. Let's get the... Wait, did they remove the one feature? Alright, for the position change, yes, so there's only position change at the front of the grid. I thought there were more as a way to show penalties and tire, but I guess there is not, as the timing screen currently works to sort itself out. It says Hittinen is a minute 20 seconds behind, but he is clearly not, as they are on the same lap. Yeah, that is a little bit of some desync, I assume. Anyways, Gelbovan currently leading the field away on the soft tires. He doesn't have a second gap. He does not have DRS broken yet, but we'll have to see. We're currently only on lap 2, not lap 3. As Hittinen spins in the background. It is trouble for the Williams driver. As he almost going to look back on it as he gets back going, but he's going to lose a lot of time as a result. And those medium tires will not be liking him now, as he definitely had the tire advantage over the top 2, and now he's got a mountain to climb if he wants to get back on the podium. But that also puts CNLP under pressure, as he does not have DRS on the 2 in front of him, and he's got a whole train of cars behind him in the background. Yes, he's got Catomatic, Zoran, Oxygen, BenQ, all of them except for Catomatic on the medium tire, which will last a little longer. So he's got to make those soft tires work now, otherwise he will be struggling later on. But Catomatic gets a 3-second time penalty already for track limits, so it's going to be an issue throughout the race, I would believe, as the track limits here are not the hardest, but when you try to make the most out of it, as Pater loses the rear end coming out of the final corner, keeps it on track and does not lose part of his front wing like we saw in qualifying, but he's going to have to keep that car stable, as we are actually now on to lap 3 with DRS enabled. I do not believe any drivers will get it out of turn 1, considering the fact that the DRS detection zone is at the end of lap 2. No, there's no DRS just yet. But yes, we will have to keep an eye out as we watch drivers get out of the final corner into turn 1, as that is the prime overtaking opportunity today for the field. But looking through the order, what's impressing me right now is Oxygen. It's all over the back of Zoran. He wants to get a move on, and he's really liking this track right now. The Red Bull driver definitely hungry to get a good result with Zoran, who's ever consistent, but has very nice pace, has fallen back a little bit off of Catomatic, so he will not be able to defend himself at the moment unless he can close that half a tenth, not even gap to the cars in front of him. But we'll have to see what he can do on the medium tires. Looking a little farther back, BenQ and Bogan, also in DRS range of Oxygen. Bogan driving very nicely on the hard tires at the beginning of the race. BenQ picks up a 3-second time penalty, so not great to see as we are only 3 laps in. Yes, Steph, it is a rather low turnout once again, but hopefully we get more action already as we look towards the front of the field. Catomatic has broken his front wing on the final corner. Not sure how he did that. I think he managed to smack the wall, but that frees up Zoran and a bunch of other drivers to get around him. Definitely not what the Ferrari driver wants, as Catomatic was all over the back of CNLP. As Zoran now got DRS off of Catomatic, and it looks like there's a little bit of DRS here as Catomatic falls down the grid, as he will certainly need to box for a fresh front wing and possibly a fresh set of tires now as well, as his rears may be lit up. A little farther down the order, Hittinen is falling off a little bit as well. Is there a spinning Haas driver down the order? It looks like BenQ had a moment out of turn number, I gotta get my track map back up. My goodness, turn 3. As he has fallen back as well on the medium tires. Bogan picks up another position, even though he has now lost DRS range to Oxygen, which is now the car in front of him. So Bogan's going to have to do a little bit of work and make those hard tires work for him and get a little bit of magic in him. As BenQ track extends once again, that will definitely not help his penalty situation at the moment. But going towards the front, Gelbovan and Pater having a very nice start to the race. Gelbovan 1.3 seconds ahead of the Haas driver, and then they got a 3-second gap over CNLP. Very great start of the race for the two of them. Not sure they could have gotten it any better, to be honest. Yes, we could always use more people, Steph. If you're free, you might as well sign up and try. There's nothing wrong with that. Alrighty, looking more back towards the grid. Apologize a little bit there. Had a knock on my door. Now we got this situated. Anyways, back to the action on track. Oxygen, 2/10 behind Zoran. He is all over the back of him. The Red Bull driver wants to get through and wants to attack for the podium position. The Red Bull driver having one of his best races so far of the season. Let's see if he can keep it working. Yes, he does benefit from the fact we have 9 drivers, but I do not care. He is having a fantastic drive so far, as we've seen him go backwards at the start of races previously, but he's keeping up with Zoran, and he is now at the front running of the medium to hard strategy with the optimal tire wear, which is currently hitting Pater, as he is only 1.9 behind Gelbovan, only 2.6 behind CNLP, who's starting to recover some pace. But Gelbovan currently flying on those soft tires and making them work. Alrighty, and we're back with Oxygen. 0.3 seconds behind Zoran. I don't think he'll be able to, he definitely will not be able to make the move on Zoran through turn 1. It may not be able to get it into turn 2 either, as Zoran benefiting from the DRS of CNLP. And Zoran himself cannot get close enough to CNLP. But is he close enough right now? He's got the overtake deployed. He's going up the inside of CNLP. He makes a little bit of contact on the apex. The two of them are side by side on exit. My goodness gracious! But CNLP will hold on to the position just barely. Some very hard defending there by CNLP as he makes it work. But his soft tires are definitely starting to struggle right now, as Zoran and Oxygen are all over the back of him, and Bogan is also just out of DRS range, but also just got into it through the chicane there. Ben Q picks up another 3-second time penalty. Definitely not what the Haas driver wants, with Hittinen bearing down on him. But CNLP is a little bit of a roadblock for the likes of Zoran and Oxygen, who are definitely benefiting from the tire advantage right now as the softs are starting to go off, and they're showing a little bit of pace. But they are also 5 seconds behind the leader of Gelbovan, who is flying at the front. Zoran's pushing CNLP through turn 13 right now and into 14 as well. Zoran's going to have to make the move through turn 1, otherwise he is going to be losing way too much time to the front 2. There he goes. He's going to make the move before he even gets to turn 1 with Oxygen in the background as well. Will Oxygen go to make the move up the inside? He does. Oxygen sends it up the inside of CNLP, and he makes the move done as well with the DRS on the second DRS straight, because there is only one detection zone. The two drivers will get past the McLaren, who is definitely starting to suffer from the tire disadvantage, with Bogan all over the back of him as well. McLaren driver put up a very good fight, but Oxygen and Zoran have gotten through and are now loose to catch up to the Haas driver ahead of them right now. As it looks like CNLP goes a little deep again. Bogan trying to see if he can get through in the second sector of the track, but it is definitely not an overtaking portion of the race, as this is just very tight, especially with these bigger F1 cars. As Pater picks up a 3-second time penalty, not what the Haas driver wants, who's currently in P2 and is being closed in on from the likes of Zoran and Oxygen behind him. Yes, words. I do need to use my words correctly. Struggling a little bit right now. But it's okay, because, you know, I will keep working, and the practice is needed. CNLP, it looks like he's going to dive into the pits and get rid of those soft tires for, I presume, hard tires, as it looks like in front of him as well, Pater has come into the pits as well. So the two of the soft runners have pitted, with only one remaining in Gelbovan, who's got a 4.2 second lead over Zoran, who has Oxygen on his tail. So Zoran benefiting from the DRS of Pater. I guess he got into the DRS range of him at the end of the lap there. Did not catch that, but Zoran currently setting the pace right now, it looks like, as him and Oxygen have dropped Bogan 1.9 seconds behind, and are 3.9 behind Gelbovan now through the first sector alone. So the medium tire is definitely working for them, but Gelbovan's going to try to push that set of soft tires, as there is a yellow flag as Codemasters has retired from the session. The Ferrari driver, whose day kind of got ruined when he broke his front wing coming out of the final corner. As I do not believe, no, there is no VSC and no safety car, so the drivers will be able to keep racing since the retirement was in the pit lane. So yes, the pace, they definitely are having some very good pace. Good comment, Steph. That is for sure, as it looks like, yes, everyone who has pitted is onto the hard tires now. So that is as predicted, as Gelbovan dives into the pits, our race leader. Looks like he's getting rid of those soft tires finally, seeing that Zoran was starting to close the gap on him. But that leaves Oxygen and Zoran as the front two, with Oxygen now getting DRS and Zoran having no one in front of him to help him defend from the Red Bull driver. Now they'll have to see if they can make these medium tires work. They're really going to have to push now to see if they can get that overcut and have it deployed right, as those hard tires will struggle to heat up. But looking farther back, Gelbovan leaves the pits right now, but it doesn't look like he got that much of an advantage on Peter, who was over 3 seconds behind. It's now only 1.6, 1.4 behind Gelbovan. So the undercut has worked wonders for the Haas driver, who only pitted 1 lap prior and has gained over a second on Gelbovan. So the hard tire is working very great for the Haas driver right now. And maybe these guys might have a little bit of a strategy with the softs, starting on the softs and going to the hards, because the undercut looked very strong. But we'll have to see how the hard tire lasts throughout the race so far. Quali pace. We saw on the soft tire, Gelbovan set a 13.4. And then down the order, we saw some 14 flats on the softs, and then a 14.4, I believe, was the best medium tire run. But qualifying aside, you know what's more important right now, and that is Oxygen closing in on Zoran. He hasn't gotten close enough to make an overtake, but he's definitely using his battery, as he is currently, I believe, under 20%, if not close to 10%. The Red Bull driver is going to need a little bit more of that if he wants to make the move against the Renault driver. He also has got to look in his mirrors, where he's got Bogan, only 1.2, now 1.1 behind him. And we all know Bogan is a very fast driver, and he's on the hard tire already, so he will be even faster at the end of the race. So these two need to get a move on, otherwise the Williams driver may get an overcut on them, and then at the end of the race, that may prove crucial. As Zoran goes wide and picks up a 3-second time penalty, Oxygen followed him, it looks like, through turn 4, but it looks like he had a warning to spare before getting a penalty. But yes, hopefully this race does not just end up on penalties. But looking at the penalty count now, yes, Zoran has 3 seconds, which is very surprising considering his consistency. Ben Q at 6, Pater at 3, and CNLP at 3. Got to keep taking sips of my drink in order to make sure I don't lose my voice. But this is definitely giving us a little bit of entertainment today, as Pater is currently 1.2 behind Gelbovan now, so it looks like the hard tires are working for him a little better than Gelbovan. In comparison, Gelbovan was flying on the softs, especially towards the end of the stint. So we'll have to see if the two will battle it out on the hards, or if Gelbovan will finally find the pace that he had on the softs, put him onto the hards, and go from there. So anyways, moving on. Oxygen's once again close behind Zoran, but making nothing work. Not sure if he has enough battery still. Hopefully he's charging up to make a move soon, but we'll have to wait and see, as the field is kind of a little stalemate right now. It's a game of cat and mouse on who will make a move first, as Bogan has now got DRS range of Oxygen and Zoran, as their medium tires are definitely starting to struggle. They definitely will be struggling right now. This will be a slight lockup for Zoran going into turn 5 as they go through the middle sector, and not much going. I'm not sure what the dust is on the screen. I'm just noticing that now. It kind of looks like a little bit of fuzzies, as I'd call them. Interesting thing to note, as I don't think that affects the gameplay anything, but yeah. So anyways, moving on. There's also got a battle in the background as Hittinen is closed up to BenQ. Now, if you remember when Hittinen spun before, he was over 6 seconds behind Bogan, and now he's 3 seconds behind. So Hittinen, who is on the medium tires still, has closed up to BenQ, and the rest of the medium tires runner. So the Williams driver is definitely one to look out for. He is showing tremendous pace, but at the same time, Gelbovan is now only 10 seconds behind him, and was 11 seconds at the end of the other lap. Gelbovan, excuse me, looks like he was listening to what I was saying, and has turned the engine up, and he is now flying, as he is almost a 2-second gap on Pater after being 1.1 and 1.2 seconds on the previous lap. So the Racing Point driver currently setting the pace on track by the looks of it. And all this means is that the likes of Zoran and Oxygen need to get a move on, otherwise they will come out a lot farther behind Gelbovan and Pater than they would want. And at the same time, this hurts Bogan, who is on the reverse strategy. So, a little bit of chess being played right now with the soft tire runners at the start. Looks like winning at the moment. Not something I would have thought would have happened today, as Pater gets another 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help his chances if he wants to steal a podium today, as he was looking like he was in the driver's seat with his pace early on, but 6 seconds of penalties is not going to do justice. BenQ picks up another penalty. He's now up to 9. That does not help his chances either. But one thing to know about BenQ, him and Hinton are closing on the back of Bogan. So Zoran and Oxygen, mainly Zoran, as he is the pace setter of that front three right now, is Zoran's not showing as much pace as some of the other drivers in the field right now, especially the likes of Hinton and BenQ, who are both on the medium tires, which could prove costly to Oxygen. As Hitman goes down the inside of BenQ, did not see this move coming. Slight lockup. BenQ goes for the switchback out of turn 2, or out of turn 1. Sorry, they are side by side going into turn 2 though. Hitman on the inside line. BenQ goes to brake very deep. They are side by side on the apex. Camera work not helping us. And BenQ is going to hold on to the position just barely. What a great job by BenQ, who I don't think anyone saw Hinton coming there, but he just straight up sent it. He got such a great run on the front straight and took an absolute lunge up turn 1, parked it on the apex, but BenQ was able to slow the car down enough and to get the switchback move done, as Gelbovan picks up a 3-second time penalty. So the Racing Point driver now looking like he is going to have an issue with Oxygen and Bogan not having time penalties and them being his biggest threats at the moment, with Pater dropping off the back and having 6 seconds of time penalties. But another thing to note with that battle, BenQ and Hinton were battling and did not lose any time to Bogan and Oxygen ahead. So even though these two are battling, they are faster than the top 3. As Hinton dives into the pits, it's looked like the medium tires have had their work, as Hinton goes for the undercut on BenQ, which we saw work wonderfully for Pater, and we'll see where Hinton comes out. So let's keep an eye on the Williams driver right now, but let's look towards the front real fast, as Oxygen was a little closer to Zoran in turn 1 than he was in previous laps, but it doesn't look like he's going to make a move. Now he will hold position at the moment. But we'll look at the pit exit right now, where Hinton is getting his tires changed. How far back will they come out behind Pater and CNLP? There goes CNLP through. And the Williams driver looking like he's about 3 seconds behind. Yeah, about 3 seconds behind CNLP. So, not bad. He has made an excellent recovery drive so far after having that incident out of turn 3, where he spun off but did not take any damage, thankfully. And now he's got some work to do. We'll see if he can get the undercut done on BenQ, which he's going to have to do if he wants to make any more progress on the likes of Zoran and Oxygen. Another thing to note, will Oxygen come into the pit soon and try to go for the undercut on Zoran? As that might be something the Red Bull driver may be thinking about right now, as the pit window is now open for the medium tire runners. As we come out of turn 13 now, will anyone dive into the pits? Zoran does take a late dive into the pits. Now it's up to Oxygen to make the overcut work. He has the DRS thanks to the detection zone being right before turn 14 and right by the pit entrance. So he will have DRS to defend from Bogan, but he's going to have to pit on this lap. Otherwise, he will lose too much time to his rival. But anyways, looking at Zoran right now in the pits, Gelbovan's going to pass him right now. Pater will also pass Zoran as well. But if we watch Zoran right now, who's leaving the pits, there comes the Haas driver of Pater. We'll see how much of an overcut he was able to pull on the likes of the other drivers. CNLP coming into turn 1. Zoran will have CNLP beat, which we saw before. So, because before CNLP pitted, he was right behind Oxygen and Zoran. But this means if Oxygen does not pit on this lap, and if he does not get a move on, he will come out behind CNLP, which will be huge for Zoran, as he'll have a car between him and the Red Bull. And they both have Hinton bearing down on him. So, the battle is on. Even if it is not for the lead at the moment, with Gelbovan a huge margin away. Let's see if we can get the exact delta. Nope, that is the wrong button. Trying to remember my keybinds. Just pull this up for the time being. We'll go. That's right, it is the G key. Duh. As we look at the gap to the leader, Gelbovan 12.1 behind, but then Zoran another 7 seconds behind Gelbovan. So the guys starting on the mediums are currently not performing as well as this guy starting on the softs. Oxygen goes into the pits, and so does BenQ. We'll see how their overcut works and compared to the two they were battling, with BenQ battling Hinton, which I believe Hinton will have the position, but will Oxygen be able to come out ahead of Zoran? Excuse me. Looking at the pit exit right now, Zoran is flying down the pit straight. Zoran will overtake Oxygen, and so will CNLP. Will Hittinen make the move on Oxygen? No, Oxygen's able to cut off Hittinen, but staying out that extra lap is going to prove very costly as he lost almost 2 seconds to the Renault driver by staying out that one extra lap. Hopefully that he can make the tires work, but that is going to be not helpful for Oxygen as well, as CNLP does not have DRS in front of him, but he's also 1.5 behind Zoran. So it looks like the overcut is not the way to go around this track. But Bogan is hopefully going to make the reverse strategy work, as he is currently taking the lead and is 11.6 seconds ahead of Gelbovan, who is currently in the net race lead once everyone pits. As we look at the tire compounds, I believe everyone is on the hard tire as expected. Now Bogan's pit window should open up in the coming few laps, as the medium tires can do, as we just saw, they just can do 15 laps, but on the lower fuel they can probably do 17 or 18. So it'll be a matter of when will the Williams driver pit, and when will he and how much pace will he have on the mediums, which will have a nice pace advantage, but for how long is the question, as they will degrade. But either way, Gelbovan controlling the race right now, 5.4 seconds ahead of his nearest rival. Zoran goes fastest overall with an 18 flat on the hards. He is running down Petter. He is getting a move on. He's liking these hard tires right now. He's fastest on the track. So he might be seeing Gelbovan some 6.5 seconds up the road and say, hey, I know you pitted a while ago. I'm going to come get you. And boy, well, we'd love to see him, Zoran, put up a fight with Gelbovan, who's currently controlled this race right now from start to finish. But looking a little farther back, Oxygen stuck behind CNLP. He needs to clear out the McLaren driver. Otherwise, he's going to have Hittinen trying to make the move on him. As we know, the Williams driver is very quick. And as we saw at Monaco, he makes moves. He can make moves about anywhere. So this Oxygen needs to look out behind him as well as in front of him if he wants to get up the field, as he does not have any penalties, and neither is Hittinen. So the two of them are battling for position, not for net position, as BenQ picks up another 3-second time penalty. I believe that is up to 12 seconds now for the Haas driver. Not what he wants to see, as he's currently down in P8 and 2 seconds behind his nearest rival. But one thing to note towards the front, Bogan is still 11.6 seconds ahead of Gelbovan, so not much change, as Gelbovan's tires are performing at about the same rate as Bogan's, both on the hard tires, but over double the wear for Bogan. So I think that is huge for the Williams driver. As Oxygen has got a very nice run out of the final corner. Will he send it up the inside of CNLP into turn 1? He does. Takes the inside line, hits the apex very beautifully, and comes out just in front of CNLP. He will have the position, and he gets a nice exit. That camera shot not helping us at all, as Hittinen goes to make a move up the inside of the McLaren driver behind him. Will he make the move stick? No, he does not. He backs out at the last second, realizing that was a late lunge, and that puts Oxygen in the driver's seat. He's got a driver between him and Hittinen, as Patrick picks up another 3-second time penalty. I believe he is up to 9 now, as CNLP gets a horrid run out of turn 4. Hittinen going up the inside and going to make the very unnormal move, as we got an interesting camera shot. Hittinen going up the inside of 6 and 7, has the outside line going into 8. Is he going to hold? He is going to hold it around the outside and take the position from CNLP through turn 9. A phenomenal move from the Finnish driver. That is what we were waiting to see. And like I said a few laps ago, he makes moves to happen in places you wouldn't think they would happen. And he did just that. But he is now 1.8 off of Oxygen. As CNLP is dropping down the order. He does not have any damage, but I believe his tires might be a little hot or something, as he might have a little bit of oversteer through 4. And it looked like he's having trouble cooling the tires right now. Yeah, a little bit of squirmy there. It looks like he's got a little bit of overheating tires. But he's not going to be able to attack BenQ, as Petter and Zoran are battling up the field. Zoran tried to go around the outside in turn 1. He's trying to make it stick. He's going to go to the outside of turn 2. Will he break later? He does. He's trying to pull Daniel Ricciardo around the outside. He's still there, as Petter spins out and smashes the wall. The Haas driver. His race was going so well, and it is now going to be in tears, as we have a virtual safety car on the track for the spinning Haas driver, who crumbles down the order into P8. Take a sip of my drink now, as Petter gets to going again. He is in second gear, and he was struggling to turn around. I believe his tires were just way too overheated, and it is heartbreak for the Haas driver who was having such a good race. Penalties were a slight issue, but now look towards the front of the field. Will Bogan pit? Bogan does pit. He's got a cheap pit stop as the VSC, well, not anymore, as the VSC has ended. The Williams driver coming into the pits, he had a 13.5 second gap of Gelbavan. Not sure if Gelbavan had an issue or something, or Bogan just decided to turn on the afterburners, but he is in the pits right now. We'll have to keep an eye on where he comes out. Gelbavan taking the lead once again as he overtakes Bogan, who's in the pits. Zoran, who is battling Pater, is going to, looks like he's going to overtake Bogan as well. Yes, he is. But is Bogan going to get the overcut on the rest of the field? It's looking like it. Oxygen is in his rearview mirrors, and Bogan is up to P3. What a job. The reverse strategy proving pivotal. I think Bogan might have turned on the afterburners there, as he was able to nab 4 positions there by staying out that much longer, and he benefited definitely from the battling between the cars that are around him now. But Bogan sitting P3 and no penalties. He is on the medium tire right now as Patrick coming out of the last corner. Looked like he's going to keep going even with the damaged front wing. Just might as well push on, I guess, to see what he can do. But it's definitely unfortunate as he just lost the rear end. There was no contact. It was just very unfortunate to see. But anyways, looking down the order, Bogan 1.2 seconds behind Zoran on the medium tire. He's purple through the middle sector, which should not surprise anyone. But yeah, Bogan looking to see if he can run down Gelbavan, who's got a 7.2 second gap right now over Zoran and an 8-second gap over Bogan. So, can Gelbavan hold on at the front? Gelbavan's got 3 seconds of time penalties, as you can see on the screen, but Bogan has 0. So all Bogan has to do is get within 3 seconds. His Oxygen goes faster overall and hit and says, no, I'll take that lap, thank you very much, with a 17.8. But I'm sure Bogan with DRS now is going to try to set the fastest lap unless Zoran slows him up, which may very well happen, considering that it is just hard to overtake unless you're hitting in. And able to overtake between 6 through 9. So, anyways, looking at Bogan right now, I'm going to ride on board with him. We'll see what he can do and make a move on Zoran in the middle sector. Purple through the first sector. Not surprising as he had DRS and the fresh tires. Man, over 3/10 up on his best lap, which is an 18.3. So, yeah, he's already looking to see if he can steal the fastest lap from his teammate, which I'm sure he'll get. But he's all over the back of Zoran. Zoran making his car very wide. Doesn't have to make it too wide, though, considering how tight the track is and how wide the cars are already. But will Bogan try to send it up the inside of 12? It is a very interesting overtaking spot. That can work. But he said he's going to lock the tires up a little bit as the clouds are getting a little dark. Not sure if there's any rain forecasted. But Patrick retires from the session in the pits. Unfortunate to see. But what is definitely fortunate to see is the battle going on for P2. With Bogan all over the back of Zoran, only 2/10 behind him. He's going to deploy the DRS. He's going to deploy the ERS. He is going to go around the outside and get the position done before turn 1. Bogan is up to P2 in the race, and all he has between him and the win is 3.4 seconds, considering Gelbavan's penalty, and that should be easy work for the medium tires, with Gelbavan being on some very old hards, and we'll have to go another 13 laps on him as well. Bogan going from last to first, doing the last to first challenge in a 9-car grid, which nevertheless is always impressive to see. One thing to note with Zoran getting overtaken there. Oxygen, 1.5 behind the Renault driver. Zoran's already fallen out of DRS range of Bogan. He's only 5.6 behind Gelbavan. So Zoran won't be able to be pulled up by Bogan, and he's trying to fall into the clutches of Oxygen, who does not have a penalty and is looking for his first podium of the season. It would be a phenomenal twist of events for the Red Bull driver, who, as we saw, has had some good results, but he still hasn't been able to convert his qualifying performances into a great race performance. But as of right now, as long as he can keep it clean, he can steal P3. At least as Bogan puts a 16.6 on the medium tire. Wow, that is a very quick lap, considering everyone else is doing high 17s and low 18s. Oxygen goes to,
A little gassy, it seems. Into turn 1. Not sure if that's going to put him under threat. That is going to put him under threat to Hittinen, who's going to go down the inside of turn 2. Oxygen's going to leave the door wide open, and Hittinen will have the position. He's going to steal that potential podium away from the Red Bull driver, as the Finnish driver is up to P4, knowing that his teammate and championship rival is currently on the hunt for the victory right now. So the two of them are going to have to see if they can push each other to catch back up to Zoran, who's now got 2.2 seconds due to their battling. At Oxygen would currently be sitting in a net P4 due to penalties. So still one of his best results of the season, but I'm sure he wants to get that position back as he struggles to follow behind Hittinen in the middle sector, as the dirty air here is just horrible. But unless you're Bogan and you got the fresh tires, it is just not ideal at all. So looking back towards the field right now, BenQ still hanging on to Oxygen, which he does. BenQ does have 12 seconds penalties, which, interesting enough, is a 9-second delta to CNLP, and CNLP is 7.9, so BenQ still might be able to grab that P6. Haas driver having one of his better performances of the season, considering, as he hasn't really fallen off the grid. He's still sticking with everyone, so I do not think he is out of the picture for stealing a position if he can continue to stay with the likes of Oxygen and Hittinen. We're now 1.3, 1.4 behind Zoran. So Zoran has some pace, but was not able to pull away, as there's a yellow flag out of turn 1. I don't think that was. Oh, BenQ is into the wall. Not sure what happened there, but that will bring out a virtual safety car. Yeah, not sure what the Haas driver did there, to be honest. Came on that late, but we'll look back through the grid right now, as that will halt Bogan's progress on Gelbovan, with currently a 4.5 to 5 second gap, considering the deltas for the VSC. Looking down the orders more, we got Zoran in P3, Hittinen P4, Oxygen 5, and CNL P6. So that's all we have left, as we are green once again. BenQ, who was having a good race, like I said, decided that I guess he's had enough or something. Not sure how you go straight on there, but it just might have had a technical issue. Not sure why there's the yellow flags, but we'll look into that after the race. But either way, Bogan 4.5 behind Gelbovan, Zoran 2.5 behind Bogan, and Hittinen almost in DRS range of Zoran. So it's looking like we'll have a three-way battle for provisional P3. And if Hittinen can make the overtake, he'll be P3 on track, and it'll be a very nice recovery drive after having that spin. So it's what could have been for the Finnish driver, who was showing a lot of pace early on, but then had the spin and has fell down to order. So he could be competing for the win right now with his teammate, but unfortunate to see, but he's making the most out of the opportunity, especially with only having 6 cars on the grid, but also he's making the most of the circumstance right now. Is Oxygen sitting in P5 and all over the back of Hittinen. He is not falling off of the Finnish driver. So Oxygen showing some of its best pace of the season, keeping up with the Finnish driver. Very impressive. But another impressive performance right now is Bogan up the grid in P2 and only 3.9 behind Gelbovan, making the perfect strategy call by doing the reverse strategy, showing some very strong pace on the hard tires, and now looking to capitalize on it and steal the race win. Now, as we've seen in previous races, I'm sure he'll want the win on track, not only just due to penalties, so we'll have to wait and see what the last 10 laps bring us. But Bogan in the driver's seat right now. And Hittinen now in DRS range of Zoran, like we were talking about. Let's see how much DRS or ERS she has. 37%. Now looking up at Zoran. Zoran's got 68. Zoran can defend all day by the looks of it. And Oxygen behind him's only got 22. So it's gonna be a brawl for P3 by the looks of it, considering Zoran's amount of battery. But seeing Hittinen and Oxygen's pace right now, do not count them out. This race is not over. If Hittinen makes the wrong move, Oxygen might be able to swoop in, steal the position, and may be able to grab Zoran as well. This is a three-way battle for a podium, especially if Hittinen and Oxygen pick up a time penalty. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But either way, Bogan closing in on Gelbovan, gaining at least half a second a lap. He's not as fast as his PB is, but that's to be expected considering that tire wear is a thing. But Gelbovan is still showing some very strong pace on the hard tire right now. But there's not much you can do when you got someone on a softer tire that is a lot fresher. coming up behind you. So we'll have to see what they can do as Bogan using a lot of his energy to run down Gelbavan. Gelbavan still having 40%. I think he knows that Bogan's coming, and I think he knows that there's not much he can do if he doesn't have the energy. Uses a little bit of it, but back down the order, hitting it all over the back of Zoran, coming out turn 1. But he doesn't get a good enough run, so he's not going to be able to make the move in turn 2. So in Oxygen, same deal. Got close behind Hittin', but not able to make any overtakes work right now. Let's give CNLP a look down the order. How is he doing in the McLaren? Started on the front row, had a great qualifying session, but has struggled today in the race. But he is currently in P6 and still going to be able to pick up some fine points. Definitely not his most entertaining race, as I'm sure he'd like, but hey, you gotta give the McLaren driver props. We'll have to see though, as it looks like he will struggle to grab any more positions unless he gets lucky. We'll have to see if he puts on the soft tire towards the end, might try to steal a fastest lap, because hey, why not? Got nothing better to lose. So, but right now the fastest lap is Bogan's, and Bogan is now 1.8 behind Gelbavan. Williams driver once again showing what he can do in PCF2. And really, since we had the initial merge, he's been a very fantastic driver in addition to the grid, as what we've seen so far even from Spain, when we had the likes of Sipos Patrick and Creo, who just kind of showed an excellent amount of pace. And Bogan wasn't the pacer at the time, but I think he saw what the competition he was up against, and he turned it up a notch. And the Williams driver has continued to exceed expectations. So he is showing some phenomenal pace and some phenomenal growth. And right now that is turning into a 1.5 second gap behind Gelbavan. And very soon he will have DRS and make a go at the race to lead. So, but speaking of making a go, Hittin' is still very close to Zoran, but not close enough. He's going to have to get a little closer and stay a little closer to him, Zoran in the middle sector if he wants to have a chance, because it looks like he falls off during the middle sector. Can't close it up enough in Sector 3, but Zoran running wide there will not help his chances. Hittin', will he try to make a move into turn 12? He's only 3/10 behind. Okay, he's not close enough for turn 12, but he's closer than he has been in previous laps. Hope the Williams driver can just get a good exit out of 13 and 14. He might be able to make the move into turn 1 or before that, as he's still all over the back of Zoran. Only 3/10 behind him. Takes the tighter line through 14. Zoran's going to be able to put the power down a little earlier because of it. But Hittin' has the DRS and is only 2/10 behind. He's going to start closing up the Renault driver. Will he go to make the move up the inside? Yes, he switches to the right-hand side of the track, and he will break. Zoran breaks very late. There's a slight lockup and slight contact. Their wheel is bumping. But they will stay side by side out of the corner. Zoran on the inside line, Hittin' on the outside. Hittin' goes to break later, and he will swoop around the outside. Zoran gets a nice run out of the corner, but Hittin' takes the position and is up to P3. A fantastic overtake for the Williams driver as he makes the move stick. It looked like Zoran was going to get the better traction out of turn 2 and into 3, but Hittin' said, no thank you, I have the better run on the outside, and I will take the position. But while that was happening, Bogan is over the back of Gelbavan up at the front. We got ourselves a battle for the race lead, ladies and gentlemen. Now, quickly before we get to the front stretch, does Bogan have any warnings? Bogan has 2 warnings. Gelbavan has 2 warnings on top of his penalty. So if Gelbavan can force Bogan into a mistake, all of a sudden it's level playing field for the win. But if Gelbavan makes a mistake, he is screwed. As Hittin' picks up a 3-second time penalty. That is huge, because now Oxygen is in the running. There's the front runner for the podium and P3. So that is huge. That changes the stakes of everything. But Bogan all over the back of Gelbavan. But he just does not get a good enough run out of 14 to make the move into turn 1. So that is not what he wants to see. Tries, got a very good run out of turn 1. Will he make it the move up the inside? No. He's going to hold station and wait another lap. He's got 5 laps and 2 sectors to go for the checkered flag. So one thing Steph noted in chat is that the mediums do get some interesting tire wear, which yes, you could in theory do a medium soft strategy around here. But what testing has shown is that when you do that, the end of the stint tires are horrible, especially as we saw on the softs. The driver started to struggle after 8 or 9 laps, and the medium runners did not go beyond 13, and the undercut some of these drivers got because of how dead those tires were at the end of the stint, I think speaks volumes in itself. But either way, Bogan on his medium tires right now, only 2.5 tenths behind. That seems to be the magic number. It was the magic number for his teammate. As Bogan's deploying all of his ERS to make the move. Gelbovan, as we know, has plenty of ERS. Bogan goes to switch it to the right-hand side of the track. Goes to brake later. He definitely brakes later. They make contact on the apex. Gelbovan went for the switchback. Who's going to get the better run out of the corner? No idea. Oh, it's Bogan. Bogan will take the lead and run away with it. A very interesting move by the Polish driver who parted on the apex and locked up a bit, but Gelbovan also went for the switchback a tad too early, made contact with the rear end of Bogan, and as a result, Bogan has taken the lead of the race with 5 laps to go. The Polish driver going from 9th to 1st. What a drive so far for him. Now the question is, can Gelbovan keep with Bogan? Especially if Bogan makes a mistake and gets a penalty, we'll have to see. But looking farther down the order, Oxygen. Oxygen still in DRS range of Zoran and Hittinen. He is also another driver we need to look out for. All he has to do is just keep it between those light lines. That's all we got. All he has to do, and he'll have a P3 in his best result of this season, which would be phenomenal to see from the Red Bull driver. Yes, the reverse strategy is looking very spicy as he is now 0.8 seconds ahead of Gelbovan, and he's looking to run away. Gelbovan putting up a very nice defense, but Bogan got just a good enough run out of turn 14 with that magic delta of 0.2 seconds, and then having that fresher, softer tire compound, he was able to brake just that much later, and as a result, he has taken the lead of the Grand Prix. How did he start on hards? He did not qualify. He elected to not set a time, and he started from P9. That is how he took the gamble. At the beginning of the race, it looked like he was kind of stuck, in a sense, but he was able to hold on with the medium tire runners, and he actually performed a magnificent overcut on them. He pitted under a VSC, but the VSC ended as he was, before he even got to the official spot where you have to hit the pit limiter, so, and the pit line. So he technically was still being affected by the VC and didn't gain an advantage from it, but he was able to come out ahead of the legs of Hittinen, Zoran, and Oxygen. But speaking of Hittinen and Zoran, Hittinen is currently broken DRS range on Zoran, which could leave Zoran vulnerable to Oxygen. And Oxygen's going to have to get a move on if he wants to keep that podium, because if Hittinen can break DRS range, he might be able to run away and be able to break that 3-second gap that he needs over Oxygen. But Zoran, it looked like Zoran's into the pits. The Renault driver, realizing that he will not get a podium, must have decided that he must go for fastest lap now, as I believe he has a big enough gap on CNLP, but this will free up Oxygen to run down Hittinen and at least hold on to the podium spot right now. Yes, Zoran putting on the softs and definitely going for a fastest lap attempt. Curious to see if CNLP will do the same in a lap or so, with the McLaren driver also being a little farther off the grid. And Zoran, yes, he will come out ahead of the McLaren driver, just barely, for only like a 2-second gap, not even. Zoran going to have to keep an eye on his fast lap attempt, since there's a little bit of a gap between the rest of the field right now, as this lap could be a very spicy one, as he charges his battery, and I'm sure he's got plenty of fuel to burn. So, I'll have to wait and see after have to do another lap around this track. We're currently on lap 33 out of 35, with 2 laps and 1 sector to go, because Bogan is currently in sector 3 with a slight lock up there. Not what we want to see, but hey, he's still driving very strongly at the front. It's looking like the medium tires are starting to go off on him, but 23 lap old hard tires are definitely not much better. Gelbovan's only still 1.3 behind, so Bogan used definitely the last of his tires to get away from Gelbovan after making the overtake, so that is unfortunate, but hey, Bogan in the driver's seat. Another thing, Oxygen, with 2 laps to go, is 1.9 off of Hittinen. He needs to not lose any more time to the Finnish driver. Otherwise, he may be in jeopardy of losing that podium spot. So, we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. But who we're going to watch now is Zoran, who comes out of the final corner. There he goes. He's using his ERS. He's using a lot of it down the front straight. He's purple through the final sector. Not surprising because of the soft tires. Let's stay on board and just watch this lap right now. while we watch. Let's note that CNLP is going for a fastest lap attempt as well. Strapped on the soft tires, orange, purple through Sector 1. Very impressive from the Renault driver. Actually, it's not really much to watch now that I realize it, because the sound is still not working. So I do apologize for the kind of dead quiet while I listen to the engine revs. It's just not fair to anyone, so I will continue on commentating. But Zoran currently on a flyover lap, 1.6 seconds up on his best lap, which is currently a 17.8, so definitely a respectable lap. But he is definitely faster than Bogan's fastest lap right now, and as long as he does not have any track limits issue, he will take the fastest lap. Question is, what will the time be? I would assume it would be a 15, but we'll have to wait and see as he comes out of the final corner. And it will be a 1:15.6. Goes over a second faster than Bogan. But now it'll be a matter of what can CNLP do, who picks up a warning, and another 3-second time penalty as a result. But ladies and gentlemen, we are on the final lap of the race with Bogan currently out front with less than 2 sectors to go. The Williams driver who did a last of first challenge in our 9-car driv. Grid is currently running away with the victory right now. He doesn't have any penalties, and yet he is going to win this Grand Prix. And yeah, the sound, again, it's very faint from what I've seen, but I'm not sure why it's being whacked. I'll keep looking into it. I had issues arise last week, but it wasn't this bad. And in response to you, Sally, I don't even know how to pronounce your name, but yes, just sign up on the AOR website, and we'll get you placed as soon as possible. But either way, Bogan coming out of the final corner, and the Williams driver will get his second win in AOR PCF2 as he wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. Second place will be Gelbavan after penalties, and third place after penalties as well is AOR Oxygen with his maiden podium of the season. What a fantastic drive for the Red Bull driver. Hittinen almost was able to secure that P3, but Oxygen showing some very strong pace, with Zoran finishing P5 behind Hittinen and getting the fastest lap, so an extra point for him there. But we'll see an LP be able to take it away. He's currently 1 second up on his lap through Sector 1. He is 2.4 seconds up on his fast lap right now. Will he be able to steal the fastest lap from Zoran and get an extra point? I'm sure the McLaren driver would love to get that little bit of confidence boost at the end of the race after he showed such a promising qualifying session, showed so much promise at the start of the race. As the McLaren driver will round out the field, and will he steal the fastest lap from Zoran? He will, with almost a 15 flat. So it's a race of what could have been for CNLP, but it is a race of what did happen for Bogan, as he is rightfully so the driver of the day by the game, and definitely by me, as he pulled a 9th to first challenge with a 9-car grade. That was a fantastic drive. Brilliant strategy call to just not qualify and just get that set of hard tires at the start of the race. Bogan impressing us every week here, and just a phenomenal and deserved win. But also a very deserved podium for Gelbavan, who showed so much pace as well, and Oxygen, who surprised myself and I'm sure many other drivers in the grid, as he secured P3 and a podium as well. But our final results will be Bogan P1, Gelbavan with P2, and AOR Oxygen rounding out our podium positions in P3. Hittinen was able to secure P4 and 12 points for his championship, but has now lost a little bit of ground to his teammate at the top, and Zoran finishes P5 with CNLP finishing P6 and rounding out our point scores today as he grabs the fastest lap of the race. Now we'll look at the race director, just to record this for any stewarding purposes that need to occur. I didn't really see any incidents with anyone, but it was still, you have to look at it. CNLP actually had a wing change. That's right, yeah, he was pushing, well, no, it was Ben Q, I believe, had the wing damage at one point. CNLP must have picked up wing damage at another point in the race. Yeah, one thing to note, Gelbavan was having some very strong pace right there on the hard tires, doing low 18s and then got into the 17s, but Bogan was able to make the hard tires work at the start, doing 18s and 19s and keeping up with the medium tire runners at the start. And that is what won him the race today. So thank you ever so much for watching today. I will work to get the sound fixed, and we will work to bring you more action going forward with hopefully an even bigger grid. Thank you so much for watching Apex Online Racing Hype Energy PC F2. And as always, we'll see you next week for more action here on AOR.com.